And now to begin our first panel discussion on the topic, the top challenges faced during the pandemic and their pragmatic solutions. I'd like to start by introducing our panelists. Please welcome Mr. S. Muralidharan, Director at several companies. Mr. Muralidharan is a mechanical engineer from IIT Kharagpur and an MBA from IIM Bangalore. He has headed aftermarket operations in Bosch India as a regional president, was executive director at Frost and Sullivan on the board of directors at Manpower Bosch Limited. A strong aftermarket professional, Mr. Muralidharan has been a member of ACMA subcommittees and a supporter of organizations like IWA and World Auto Forum. Please also welcome Mr. S. Punnaivanam, VP and Head After Sales, Hyundai Motor India. Mr. Punnaivanam is an auto professional with more than 30 years of experience in the automotive industry and a WAF star for Best After Sales Head PV category. Mr. Punnaivanam began his professional journey with Maruti Suzuki India Limited and went on to work with Hyundai Motor India. Under his leadership as VP, Hyundai After Sales bagged the coveted JD Power CSI number 1 for 2 consecutive years. He leads by example and believes in teamwork to achieve set goals. Mr. Manish Srivastava is National Head After Sales Hero MotoCorp. With almost 23 years of experience in after sales service industry, Mr. Srivastava started his career as GET with Bosch India and then joined Tata Motors passenger car division in the West Zone. Please also welcome Mr. Vashist, MD, Satyam Group of Companies. Mr. Vashist, an engineer by profession, founded Satyam International in 1999 to provide complete solutions related to workshop design, garage equipment, air, lube, paint, washing, and environment solutions, etc., pan-India. In 2014, he founded Sparsh Autotech Private Limited with dealerships of General Motors, Chevrolet, Nissan, and Datsun. The company won several awards, including the 3M Winners Award 9 times in a row. He implemented SHE for better safety, health, and environment for his employees. In 2016, he established SCOPE, the Sham Center of Professional Excellence for Industry-Oriented Programs. Please also welcome Mr. M. Dhananjayan, MD, Focus Group, India and Dubai. Mr. Dhananjayan has 17 years of experience working in shipbuilding, construction, hospitality, and automotive retail across South Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. A Six Sigma Masters Black Belt, EFQM assessor, Mr. Dhananjayan has trained 20,000 plus people across automobile brands. He started a society of automotive engineers and is an active member still. Please also welcome our guest from Australia, Mr. Rob Boyle, Director, Boyle Consulting. With 3 decades working with all levels of management and related personnel, combined with his early experience at Hancock Transport Equipment Private Limited, Caterpillar of Australia Limited, and IF Consulting Group Private Limited, Mr. Boyle founded Boyle Consulting in 1998. He has provided a strong base in leadership development, change management, operational review and research, focusing on dealer network performance improvement with industry-focused training, operational standards, leadership, 5S, operational review, and change initiatives. Mr. Boyle is a Bachelor of Engineering from the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology and an MBA from the University of Queensland. And last but not the least, our moderator for this panel, as well as CEO of World Auto Forum, Mr. Anuj Guglani. Over to you, Anuj.
Well, thanks a ton, Anita ma'am, and good morning again to our participants. So, as always, we have the who's who of the industry to power the 6th IVAS. And of course, we go virtual this time. So thank you so very much for joining us. That too on a Saturday morning. But hey, we can't help it because IVAS for the this is sixth edition, and IVAS is always on the second Saturday of December. And in a way, the industry and VAV have started celebrating this day as the national or the international vehicle after sales day. So please allow me to just share my screen so that I can just quickly open up that email that I had shared uh, 2 days back. So if you can see my screen, please let me know. Can you see my screen?
Good morning. I can see Punnai.
Great. Thank you so much, Punay sir. So, friends, these are a few cues for the discussion. Of course, our topic, we always try to keep it as practical and as pragmatic as possible because all of us are here on a Saturday. All the participants, we all need vision. We all need solutions to our problems that we had been facing and we continue to face in this year of the pandemic. So, a few cues for the discussion for today that we are still amidst the pandemic. And we've already seen the lockdowns and containment zones and demand bust and resume cycles. So, what actually are the top challenges that are faced by us and also the ones we continue to face even now? Then the solutions that worked and the ones that didn't, because it's always a hit and trial. Something works, something does not work. So, if we can share what really worked, it can save a lot of time for a lot of people. And in these challenging and difficult time, leadership skills are very important. And Mr. Boyle is a leadership coach and he's been one for several decades, so I'm sure he can add a lot of value on that. And we of course have top leaders in this panel. Supply chain blues, all of us saw that at the drop of a hat, impromptu containment zones were announced. And any workshop or any vehicle after sales business runs on a supply chain. So our vendors, suppliers, they're unable to supply us their consumables in service. How do we manage? How do we make our supply chains, or how have we made them resilient and dynamic so that the customer doesn't suffer and even our cash flow does not suffer? So managing cash flows when demand is down to a trickle. Then how to drive the demand? It's extremely important. Keeping the teams driven and motivated in this difficult hour, because salary cuts, incentive cuts, they happen across the board, because when the revenue comes down to a trickle, you know for how long would you pay from your pocket? At the end of the day, it has to come from the consumer. So in these difficult times, how to have the teams driven and motivated? Then during these times, in the good times, we always keep talking about SOP. But what role does SOP play during these difficult times? Does it get more important? Does it go on the back burner? Or is that the only way we can, spring back? And then what is the kind of support that we can get from the institutions like insurance companies, banks, local authorities, local government bodies, statutory bodies, central and state governments? So these are a few points, which we thought can be put in. And of course, we have to build on them and we can add more points. So I'll stop my screen sharing. So, so let's start this discussion with Mr. S. Muralidharan, as we call him, Murli sir, with love and pride. So Murli sir, if we can start with you, your thoughts on these points, sir.
Thank you, Anuj, for those very kind words of introduction. 69 million people affected across 200 countries in the space of 10 months, causing the world economy to shrink by almost 5 to 6%, Indian economy to shrink by over 20% in the quarter April, May, June. Yes, slightly recovering, but still shrinking by 7.5% in July, August, September. All due to a little known virus from even a little known town, Wuhan, which has affected from princes to pedestrians and taught the world that there is a new normal. Three major factors are likely to affect the aftermarket in general and service in particular. First is the adoption of technology, namely digital. Over 670 million Indians are now digitally literate, with 74% of them active on e-commerce, an unthinkable number 12 months back. The second largest digital e-commerce market in the world now will not accept shortages of material, particularly for servicing. This will put an entire challenge the Indian distribution system of spare parts, which has a lot of wholesalers and semi-wholesalers and dealers. The end user today expects parts now. The second is the concept of work from anywhere. It's not just work from home or just work from office, it's work from anywhere. Why should I travel a few dozen kilometers to office if I can do the same sitting at home or sitting in my flexi office? The work from anywhere will ensure that the customer demands service from anywhere, which is what the local garages have done by getting into fleet operators or very large apartments to change things like wiper blades or flat tires or charging batteries. So work from anywhere will lead to service at anywhere. And third, it'll be an era of service assurance. We have moved away from courtesy Six Sigma, Deming, EFQM to quality assurance. Now it'll be service assurance. Why should I take a car costing me millions to other end of town, even if it's free service? I want service assurance, so I don't have to go there anymore. These three mega trends will be substituted and reinforced with a lot of other changes, which I'd like to touch upon later. But for the moment, technology, digital, work from anywhere, service assurance. And with that, I hand over back to you, Anuj.
Right, sir. So those are very nice points shared by Murli sir on the vast digital adoption. And of course, it has been a common joke for last 7 to 8 months. Quiz time. What led to the digital adoption in your organization? Your managing director, your CEO, COVID-19. So we all know, the kind of thrust, because, as they say, innovations or new things, or adoption of new things happens only in two cases. A, when we are really bored, as it happens. And second, when we are stonewalled, when there's no other option. So necessity is the mother of invention. So here there was no option. We had to do it. How many people, I know so many people in my own personal circle, that includes me as well. If I don't step out even once in a day, I don't feel normal. I used to feel a little agitated, frustrated, fretted. But during lockdown and even after that, for months we were working from home. And even now, mostly I'm working from my home only. Very less I step out. So the way things have changed. So when you are stonewalled, when you have no other option, you really start innovating. So Mr. S. Punnaivanam, he is the VP and head of after sales at India's second largest car maker. So Punnai sir, as we call him. So Punnai sir, I'm sure the challenge for you would have been, really nothing less than a second Mount Everest, so motivating your teams, ensuring their mental health is fine. When the lockdown opened up, when unlockdown phase happened, how to ensure the kickstarting of the dealerships. And even now, what the kind of reports that we keep getting, that even now the consumer is conserving cash. They are not really going beyond the line, the periodic maintenance, regular stuff, that's it. Nothing else, nothing extra. So even the pandemic is still not gone. So how have you managed, sir, at your organization, at your dealerships, and how do you see the road ahead? Sir, unmute yourself, sir. Bottom left. So please unmute yourself. Pune sir, please unmute yourself. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, done. Thank you, Anuj, first of all, for having me here. with the Elite Group. I'm very thrilled to be part of this wonderful IVAS program. As always, it was. Now, the challenge for us, let me take in 3 stages, right? Stage 1, when the first lockdown was announced. I mean, Murali sir has given the total, overall umbrella, issue challenge for all of us in after sales. But if I have to take little more deeper, I will define the entire, challenge in 3 stages. One was when the lockdown was announced. Second, when the unlock was slowly announced. Now the third phase, now where are we in, is the coming back to the original business. So now, when we quickly, remember what has happened during the first phase of lockdown, we further, can, go ahead in 3 ways. One, what was the customer's anxiety? All the customers were thinking, okay, lockdown has been announced. I'm in a lockdown area, but my car needs still a service. I have a free service to be done. What will happen? So first anxiety from all the customers across the OEMs and everyone was, we gave that confidence that whether it is warranty, extended warranty or free service, we said, do not worry. And we were in fact the first to announce to the entire network. In fact, in our SNS media on 19th itself, much before our Prime Minister announced the national lockdown, to say that your warranty, extended warranty or free coupons, etc. will be extended. So that is the first confidence. That was on customer anxiety when the first challenge of lockdown was announced. Now, though lockdown was in place, I'm just taking in little, story manner. Barriers were all, frontline people were all working. Hyundai users also were working. They are doctors, they are policemen. So we went to Siam. We asked them, can we work with, on an all India basis, can we get some special approval for the emergency assistance? We have a partnership with, Alliance Worldwide. Can they be allowed at least? The customers who are moving, emergency, somebody is moving and the car gets stuck up. So we got an assistance from our Siam. We got a no objection certificate. So when we went to each local authority, our dealers went there, got one car, one technician approval for mobilizing any breakdown anywhere. And Alliance also slowly, day after day, they got special approval. So that is the challenge, and that is how we took it, how to support the customers who are supposed to move, essential service people. And if they have any assistance, they also might start their car maybe after 20-35 days, or if something happens, we must assist them. Third, when the lockdown was announced, after 10 or 15 days, people were, like you said, you were all stonewalled. All of us were stonewalled. Car was not moving, but we started thinking in advance, we have to keep connecting with the customer. Like Murali sir said, digital. Our customers are more digital savvy. So from Hyundai, we connected through our CRM. We were connecting them to educate, how to start the car once in a while, how to move the car so that tires don't. So tire, battery maintenance, critical area for focus. So that was at the same time, my friend Pugalia also is there. What was their anxiety? There is no cash flow, you rightly said, and no billing happened. So will it be up till April or after May? So a lot of anxiety was there. So what we did was, as an OEM, as an institutional area, so we started supporting our dealer partners by clearing all the pending payments. All of us know we are from after sales, warranty claim without spare parts getting actually received, defective parts being received. We took a call. Till August, we'll just keep reimbursing immediately. If the procedural data is okay, so we kept on reimbursing our dealer. All the pending payments were there. Any normal debit for training, etc., they were all withheld. So that is how we supported anxiety, because they had to pay. All our dealers were good enough to support the manpower. Manpower used to have an anxiety whether we get a salary. Prime Minister has told everyone that enterprises should pay. So the guys were having an anxiety. So we connected, collaborated. Our dealer partners were so supportive throughout the pandemic. They all supported our dealer staff, in terms of giving them a payment, basic payment, etc. Many people even went ahead in organizing special events for not only for employees and customers and people who are migrating. So they supported. So this is how the phase 1 was all there. Phase 2. if I have the time, or should I talk low? Unlock was slowly happening. The people, you also talked about manpower. They were all kept idle. There is a saying that idle mind is a devil's workshop, right? And for 15, 21 months, if guys were not working, the technicians, advisors, service managers, we took this as an opportunity. Challenge is they are all idle, but for as an opportunity, we refreshed all our technical soft skill training contents. And for that, the challenge was digital contents, were to be developed. So all our training instructors were put on the job. More, presentation, more contents, more videos were all developed, and we kept on engaging these guys so that they are not bored. They never felt, they are stonewalled. Psychologically also there were challenges. So we took that initiative. Online training was full from, March 22nd onwards, half an hour dose, 1 hour dose. So we kept on engaging our dealer staff. So that helped when the lockdown happened. They were fresh in their mind and customers started coming to the workshop. Of course, we had a lot of promotional activities to win over the trust of the customers. We had a series of communication that Hyundai cares, be the facility, be the process. It is all sanitized. People are all sanitized. Facility is sanitized, and please come to us and you will have a, trouble-free servicing. We announced 6 touch point servicing, sanitization. So all that process were made so that customers start coming. And to our friends, let me also say that we started having a restart checklist. Like a new dealership is operated, again, manpower was available, facilities all sanitized, some equipments, after a one month, 2 months break, lockdown, whether they all work. So pre-start of checklists were introduced. So our territory managers were in touch with the dealer. So that is how we prepared during the unlock thing. Of course, there were a lot of training from the online training. We had to slowly shift to the blended training, both online and offline. Not everyone was allowed to travel. So in the cities where people can come locally in their own vehicle, so we encourage them to come to our sanitized training centers. Training has slowly started. With all this challenge, Anuj, we kept on launching new cars, the new Creta, new Verna, new Tucson. We cannot stop training, right? So there were technical inputs that we had to give for the new model. Even with the new i20 that we launched, it comes with new features like solid oxygen for making the entire cabin more fresh as air purify operation. So we could never stop. We cannot afford, stopping our training. People were joining, technology was added. So we kept on working on various types of webcast system to connect with all the 25,000 people. And to summarize quickly, without taking much time, the third phase was very, very good. The good news is that compared to January and February, today for October, November, and estimated December month closing, we will be 4% up compared to the January, February time. So we have forgotten the effects of COVID. So with all the network support, dealer support, our team support, we are much better than the pre-COVID times. That is a summary.
That's fantastic, Pune sir. In fact, it almost, I think you can already write. There can be a biopic which can be possibly made, on the restarting of the dealerships during the lockdown for essential, then during the unlockdown, and now when Hyundai Motor India is busy launching cars, and that too with COVID, fighting features like clean air, pure air. And what really strikes me is the way you took care of the dealers. The relationship is actually tested when the things are tough and rough. So you were there for the dealers. You were not pressing them too much for the paperwork or the formalities or the procedural aspect. You were remitting money to them, almost like the government of India, the way they were remitting money, through various of their schemes. And then also the way you took care of the mental health of not just your employees, but also of the dealership employees. That shows that sense of extended family, and that also shows a great leadership at after sales at Hyundai Motor India, in general. That shows that you are closely knitted to your teams and to your extended family. And also, what is nice is it has given you the results.
Yeah.
you have done record sales, in the COVID year, which is true for Hero MotoCorp, record sales, and also because this urge for people, this safety, security, health aspect, that Olas and Ubers and public transport might not be safe, and people might need their, set of own personal wheels. So people coming back to personal mobility, the shift that happened to shared, and because of COVID, it started coming back to personal mobility for health and safety aspect. So with these, so let's switch gears and let's get Rob in the conversation. So Rob is our mate from the down under, and he joins us, and he's 6 hours ahead of us. So before his office, closes for the day, let's get him in the conversation and let's hear from him how companies, organizations, his clients, his own team, they are battling, COVID-19, and what are the practical leadership tips that he would like to give to the industry. Rob, all yours.
Thank you, Anuj, and an honor to participate, everyone. And I love your country. It's a wonderful place. I still hope we win the test match in the cricket, though, of course.
Nice.
It will be a great series. Punnaivanam, I could really relate with a lot of your comments there. We had about 4 weeks warning in Australia before this virus came out. And it hit us around mid to late March, whereas in some other countries it was before that. And for some reason, we took it very, very seriously. And we're an island, which meant we could control our borders a little bit and isolate, but there were many, many mistakes. So I feel I've got great empathy for your country because you've really had a tougher journey, and you are still having a tough journey with this shocking virus. My father died of a respiratory ailment, mesothelioma, which is asbestosis. So to have an illness that affects your lungs is very, very serious. So I do empathise. We were in shock in March and April. It was pretty bad. And the government immediately came out with a job keeper, it was called, which was enough for a technician about 20 hours a week. So what the dealers did, you mentioned Manpower before, they would work their techs for 20 hours and then go home. Okay. Then one of the manufacturers came to us and we wrote a procedure. They said, let's go and pick up the cars. So we'll go to the house. Some were doing mobile service, not too much. I heard apartments being targeted before. And we put together a procedure for sterilisation. What parts of the car do you wash? The door handles, the steering wheel, etc., etc. So that went out, and that had it was positive. I don't know if it was massively successful. But automotive trucks have been very, very busy. So trucks have been essential here in this country. We do not have we have a rail network, but most of our cargo is on a road surface. So trucks are essential. So the truck dealers have been very busy. And then a couple of states, I think you have 28 states, we've only got 5, were locked down. But gradually, there were always some states that were open. And because people cannot travel overseas, they start traveling internally. So it's a big country here. So we have a lot of SUV, 4-wheel drives work. So the workshops are flat out now. It's turned right around in recent months. The government allowance is still there. They are adjusting their labour, but the workshops are really busy. It's 2 weeks, 3 weeks to get into some workshops, which is great. I was talking to a dealer principal recently, and he said, well, really, we're selling all the new cars we can get because the supply's been affected now, as all over the world. I'd imagine same in India. We're selling all the cars we can get. Therefore, the price of used vehicles, pre-owned vehicles has gone up here in Australia. So they're doing well in new and used. Service and parts are strong. And there's still government assistance at the moment. So it has been difficult, and some dealers are doing better than others. But I think in some ways we've dodged a bullet here in Australia. Melbourne, in the state of Victoria, had some issues going back about 4 months. So they had a heavy duty lockdown in Melbourne that was very serious. And that did affect everyone, understandably. But they're coming out of that now. All of the states will be open up for Easter. So I think what dealers need to do now, and a general observation that I have, is that it's not good enough to roll up the doors, pull the chain in the morning and the cars to come in. We need to learn to market from an OEM dealership point of view. The aftermarket does this very well. So service managers with their parts managers need to go out and sell and try and bring this work in, which is so important. Also, my company here, we've only got 20 people, but from a leadership perspective, we had 7 clients call on the week of the 13th of March. It was a Friday, if you may recall. 7 clients called that week and said, you know, the training we'll have next week and the next week all lined up for the whole year. Forget it, all stopped. So, Punnaivanam, your comments about training, we've converted our training to blended digital. We produce 98 e-learning modules just in the last 9 months. We've got 4 people in a digital team, instructional design, building this. They are flat out. We've done 2 truck launches online. We didn't host, but we developed the assets, etc., for the video clips, etc. So digital has been very busy, but classroom training is not the same. Everyone in India would have been through this. This has been a real shock to everyone. And we found with our own staff, all we could do was be very honest with them about the impact on everyone. We then went to 4-day working week. And we had a couple of ladies working 3 days a week. They went to 2 days a week. But we've kept everyone on board. And we've tried to be open and transparent, and we've still got the whole team together, but it's been quite a challenge.
That's fantastic, Rob. So Rob, if I can ask you, you've been a leadership coach for several decades. So during these unprecedented times of the pandemic, if we ask you that what can be the top 3 tenets or qualities of leadership which are the need of the hour and which you have seen being practiced at the ground level, what would those 3 qualities be?
Okay, we've just done a survey of 26 workshops of the staff engagement. The number one thing productives are saying is we don't get involved in decisions. You make the decision, I'm out in the boiler suit in the workshop, hot workshop, I don't get included, okay? Communication from my leader and support from my leader, and recognition. So these are all interpersonal issues. It's not about the tooling. Sure, you can have a tooling, and it's not about the workshop, old, new workshop. It's really about the interpersonal skills from the leader to be participative with your people and lead them effectively and try and understand them, because we all have friends and aunties and uncles and cousins and brothers and sisters that we know. And a technician is the same as anyone else. But when we go to work, they put the boiler suit on and maybe they're not as respected, but they should be respected. They're my 3.
All right, great. That's fantastic. And I'm sure that I thought the same, that interpersonal skills and being there for your teams and communicate shall always top the list and be top 3. So switching gears and getting Manish in the conversation. So Manish is the national head of vehicle after sales at Hero MotoCorp. So now let's get to know the insights in the two-wheeler industry. We already know that Hero MotoCorp is the #1 player in not just India, but across the world's largest motorcycle manufacturer for several years. And in October, they have broken their own record, all-time high sales. So Manish, how has been the journey in the pandemic year? Some practical, the problems and the solutions that, your team came up with, if you can share.
Yeah. Thank you, Anuj, and good morning to all the panelists. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, loud and clear.
So thank you for having me here. And it's I don't know, none of you may be knowing that I started my career in Bosch under the leadership of Murli sir only, way back in '97.
That's fantastic.
Uh, So coming to this pandemic and the challenges that we have in two-wheeler industry or two-wheeler space, uh, when the pandemic started, basically we were into majority and majorly into a carburetor era. And when we opened up after the pandemic, we were into a BS6 era. So the world has completely changed for two-wheeler space, which is whether it is for the manufacturing companies, whether it is for the people who are using or buying the bikes, and the local technicians attending to it. So it was a huge challenge at hand for us, basically, keeping our people engaged, the dealer people and the customers into the new era which will be coming up. So while the pandemic thing we started discussing somewhere in February, but the real action in that happened during the actual lockdown. So we divided into maybe four groups of actions. One is engaging with the dealer manpower, and as all of you have said, I think digital has been the new normal, and it has led to the real success in implementing many of these uh, maybe addressing the challenges that we had during the pandemic. And we never thought that the manpower at the dealership and the customers who are into a two-wheeler commuting segment will become so tech savvy or so digital in this space. But at the same time, to keep the dealer manpower engaged and updated on the latest technology, that is BS6 or the FI thing, which will be coming in, we developed an app-based training module and an assessment module, which will keep them engaged for almost 2 long months. So there was regular interventions with videos and training modules with short snippets going to them. They're seeing through it, they're attending to an assessment, we analyzing those assessments, and we reaching out back to them. So the entire training was given into the hand of the technician, the people that we have. And the real challenge was we have more than 6,500 network points. It's a huge network base that we have. And hence the exercise was mammoth in nature, reaching out to all the dealer employees, making them that they are available on the app. I think while it was lockdown, and lockdown has always made us work 7 days a week, and because there was no weekends and there were no Sundays and Saturdays for sure.
Well
And the
said.
entire
Well
team
said.
was busy into reaching out to the people and seeing that they are updated, they are training, they are learning, and that is how things are going beyond learning. Apart from our old technicians, we had a huge batch of local technicians also, which needs to be trained, because they are also people attending our bikes in need, and and large customer base visits local technicians. So we reached out to the local technicians base that we have. We have an Asli Hero program, which has more than 1 lakh technicians across the country enrolled into that. So we reached out to them also on the digital platform to take this new technology of FI to them. I think which is one of the very unique initiative taken in the two-wheeler space by Hero, and was well appreciated by the technicians at large, because in the digital, normally the training happens and they are, but they never thought that in the digital format we will be coming out to them, reaching out to them, and displaying rather than as per to them as to how the technology works, apart from only the touch and feel part of it. The second part that we have broken into is the customer piece. So we have a huge base of customers. We have almost 95 plus million customers with Hero. Many of them have bought new vehicles in the last quarter, and then suddenly the pandemic happened and we all closed down for almost 2 months. So while as Punnaivanam has said, we also extended the free services and the warranty till the 31st of August. uh, but at the same time, we reached out to them again digitally, to all the new set of customers, to make them aware of the bike, to share maintenance tip with them, to share do-it-yourself videos with them, so that they can take care of their bike at home to a large extent. Uh, Keep it up and running if at all there is something required in the emergency. And at the same time, they felt very good that the company is coming out and reaching out to them, reaching out to the customer on the digital platform. And please believe me, Anuj, we were pleasantly surprised when we reach out to the customer to come on a Zoom call or a Google Meet or something of that. And then the hit rate was almost more than 40% coming on and joining to them. So while we had all those glitches on putting people on mute and all, but then we were pleasantly surprised customer coming on and trying to listen and learn about this bike that he has bought in the last quarter. At the same time, we started reaching out on the preparedness. So safety is something that we always were very, 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 very cautious about. Safety of our employees, safety of our dealer employees, safety of the customers who will come into in. And that is what we always educated the customers as to what it should be his behavior when he's coming into the workshop when the lockdown opens. So we have to spread it out, keep him aware, don't come in large numbers to the workshop, space it out, phase it out, while we know that the service need is there. Third, which is the largest piece, is the dealer engagement. So while the financials were taken care of by the company at a large level, there were a lot of training programs for the dealer principal itself from the good MBA colleges. And we took on the professors there and trained our people how to manage the finances, how to do a service marketing, how to be managing the workshop and the business in a more professional manner, and which again kept them engaged. And once we started opening up, we took a call of what all customers will be coming to us and how many employees will be coming back to us. So say by end of May, maybe 21st or 15th of May, when these workshops start opening, we were already knowing as to how many workshops will have how many technicians, how many advisors and all, and how many customers is what we can take in into the workshop. And we keep on telling the customers, reminding them to please don't come in large numbers to us. It may harm you and the workshops, and we may not like to close it down because of some workshop getting infected and so on and so forth. And touch wood, nothing of that sort happened. Customers supported us, our dealers supported, the employees supported, and we had very, 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 very few cases in our workshop, to be very honest. And none of our workshop because of that was either closed going forward. So that is a large program that we ran in the entire 2 months and is still running, I'll say, because training center we are not yet opened. So we're still relying on the digital training, and believe me, it is working. So with all the new portfolio of BS6 coming in, which is largely FI, we have been able to give the services to the highest level to our customers. And in our internal own benchmark of the customer satisfaction, we are always increasing month on month, month on month, month on month. Third is the last piece is the digital piece. We have completely gone digital. I think we are the first company in the two-wheeler space which has gone with a direct tie-up with the WhatsApp, and we have given the entire communication to the customer in his hand. So he can book his appointment, open his job card, pay it from there, see his history, take his invoice, and even the receiving is given to him on the WhatsApp. And he literally doesn't exchange any paper, any pen with us when he's even coming or he's not coming to the workshop. So digital has played, I think, a huge support, and it has been I think we are in the exploring mode still as to what more can be done into it. So that is all what we have been doing into the lockdown. Anuj, over to you.
That's surely a lot, Manish. If that is all that you've been doing, that is surely a lot. So I think Team WAF would really like to congratulate Team Hero MotoCorp for turning this around as an opportunity. Because what is the number of customers you mentioned? 95 million, if I'm not wrong.
95 million plus.
95 million plus customers.
Yes.
And when we went in the lockdown, it was more of a carburetor engine, and post PS6, it was an ECU, an electric ignition controlled. So disseminating the training via digital to the thousands and lakhs of technicians across the country. And with digital, I think we can also reach out to even the roadside technicians.
Yes.
Even they can get trained and empowered. by this digital education, the digital vidya, as we can call it.
Yes.
One question which comes to my mind, during the lockdown, the economy of essential goods and services and the e-commerce and the Zomatos and the Amazons and Flipkarts was moving on motorcycles. So anything that you had done for them during that time?
So yes, we had our I think we had entered into a sorry we have entered into a tie-up with all these corporate groups, whether it is the Jubilant Group, which is the Domino's Group basically, and all these, and we have our own emergency services through our own tie-up partners, which is Alliance and Europe Assistance basically to deliver them the services. Uh, we knew that personal mobility is going to increase, not during the two exact lockdown periods, but post that mobility will increase, and we will be expecting a lot of customers coming into our workshops. And to a number, if you people will like to have, maybe we were expecting, and that is what is the reality today, we are getting more than 1.3 lakh customers on a daily basis into our workshop. So it is like maybe I don't know. This is something, a number which is huge by any standards for an automobile.
Absolutely.
And we have been into the tie-ups with all these groups to give them a corporate service. We have a focus on the institutional sales and the service package, where we can deliver reliable services, and as Muralidharan has said, service assurance to these people, so that their bikes are up and running and they don't have any downtime as such.
Sure, sure. Great. That's fantastic, Manish. That seems to be a great journey, which we have to keep continuing with more and more power. So now getting in the conversation, a person who is training, empowering the dealership teams, the OEM teams, not just in India, but across several continents, across the Middle East, across Europe. So I would like to get in the conversation Mr. Dhananjay M, whom we lovingly in the industry address as Mr. DJ. So, Mr. DJ, how is the industry dancing to your tunes of efficiency and productivity during these challenging times? Please feel free to share.
Thank you, Anuj. It's really happy to be part of this, and also very senior leaders and mentors like Mr. Punnaivanam. Hearing him, and he has been my guidance in the initial years. I'm very happy to also share my experience of India and Middle East in particular, because I've been on and off during this COVID times between India and Dubai, which also brought in a lot of experiences. So I will take this as a like a 4M man machine material method is a 4A, which is awareness, adaptation, assurance, and acceptance. So these four things, some of the points already Manish, Murli sir, and Punnaivanam have touched upon how they really attended to all those things. And also Bob clearly said about how do you retain your manpower in terms of during this tough times. So one of the clear things that came out is the leadership, check, primarily how they really work and adapt to this current situation. If you look at, this was one of the major reality check for all the people. How do they retain their manpower? How do they keep them in a confidence level? And then also reassure that the business is back. So first, A is the awareness. So another thing is clearly bringing in a lot of awareness on safety, health, hygiene, and all those things, because it was the first time no one has done. So there was a lot of awareness related programs, not only for the employees, it's also for the customers. So one of the technologies that we brought in India in 2018 was also really useful to do the contactless communication process. So one is awareness, that, and also rebuilding confidence. The second is adoption. So primarily, whenever a crisis comes, it is really a very difficult thing to change. So earlier, if we want to have a meeting via conference or a virtual thing, the answer would be, say, why don't you come to the dealership, or why don't you come to your office? Let's have a face-to-face thing. So now it's the reverse way. You say that you need to meet, they say, no, we'll do virtual. So there is a lot of adaptations to the digital tools, communication in particular. And I can also share one of the experiences how we made calls to the dealership teams, connected them together on a Zoom call, a WebEx call, and then made a dialogue, not in general about business, but just keep them, talking about their personal things, how they're using their time, and then also encourage them to use this time for learning in particular. So from a classroom kind of a session, the whole thing shifted to digital. Like everyone said, there was a lot of learning methods that was developed during this lockdown period. Like Murli sir said, assurance both for customer and employee is really important at this point of stage. We are all surviving because of the customers, but at the same time, to serve the customers, people are very, very important. So some of the places we really work with the clients, and then we brought in a lot of techniques where in which we were helping them not to leave employees, because when things comes back to normal, they will really, the people are really needed to serve the customers. Yes, digital trends are the important things that goes through, but to serve the customers, you need people. So taking the experience from India and Middle East is India actually opened up a little later, but the best thing I really appreciate is the OEMs really took extra effort talking to the dealer principals and also ensuring that the people are paid. But there are some cases where it is also not the real story, but we have to really look back and then see who are people who we left during this time has to be called back so that there's a livelihood regenerated. Coming to Middle East actually had a lockdown per se is only two months. So since August, they've been doing an online sessions as well by implementing strict norms of social distancing, face masks a must, and there is severe penalty system that is being put. So across Middle East, we were able to do a lot of implementations online as well. So that's the we call it as COVID plus. So in the COVID plus, you adapt the same techniques what is being used to do the technique. So the same thing was used for learning. Instead of giving it a complete 1 day complete training, we adapted a capsule method, which is like 1 hour, 30 minutes, or 2 hours. So that brought in a lot of connect with the clients and also easy for implementation. The last thing is the acceptance. We need to really accept the current scenario. My personal experience has been also traveling between India and Middle East. So every time you need to do a COVID test when you travel out of India, and every time you come out of Dubai, you have to do again a travel test. So maybe I've done like 15 COVID tests so far. So it is now becoming a new acceptance, whether you want to, you want to do it or not. But to be engaged with the customers, this is going to be the new things. So in summarize, both India and the Middle East markets have opened up, and service business has been the key backbone of the survival of the dealer business. So as you rightly started in the beginning, SOPs and all those things were the topic that we used to discuss. Believe me, the efforts put by all these industry leaders on SOP really has helped them to make their process to convert from a kind of a normal into a digital process, or moving from the new normal to a contactless journey. And in the past, I have heard from a lot of service professionals and also from the dealer manpower by themselves how they have been taken care. Those people who invested in the welfare of the people have really got that outcome when there was a real challenge, when people were scared to go out, because of their past investment on people has brought in that confidence. So employee loyalty, customer loyalty, and customer engagement through various methods has really brought in the change. So we are getting back to normal. Business is almost like the leaders said, the past revenue is coming back to 100%, and people are meeting as well. So primarily from since August, I'm meeting my clients in Middle East. Whereas in India, again, we also did something, a new initiative called virtual audit system to keep the SOPs live. And a second method we adapted was a dialogue mechanism. So not only talk about business, talk about people. That it really makes the difference. So these are two key things that I want to leave. And one more request to the entire automotive fraternity is please look at your people. They are needed post this COVID scenario and retaining them. Employee retention is the key. Like Bob said, we are also a consulting company. We also never let any of our employees leave us. So that's really helping us to keep them motivated. But we adapted mechanisms like a kind of a pay reverse that is being done right now when we're bringing back to normal. So that's the view. 4M to 4A is a new COVID thing.
Beautiful.
Awareness, adaptation, assurance, and acceptance. So we all have to say it together. And of course, after sales is the key backbone of the wholesale and the retail. So take care of the retail, wholesale will automatically happen. So it's very important that the leaders have the dialogue with all the people, and they are really doing a fantastic job. Be it Hero or TVS or Maruti Suzuki or Hyundai in particular. I had my own personal experience with the network. It is fantabulous. In simple way, I have to say is we as a team are
Beautiful.
really taking it
So
forward.
it was
And
Mr. DJ.
new normal. People will come with COVID plus packages, and communication was also the key. So the technology that we brought in India 2 years back is really has helped during this COVID times. So we will talk in detail at a later session, but
Surely, surely.
bring
So Anuj, allow me to thank DJ for his great words for us. Thank you.
Absolutely,
thank you.
absolutely. So DJ has set, the stage, and he has, the very fact that he has been repetitive on these couple of points of team engagement and taking care of your team, and that how after sales business has taken care of the entire automotive business, and that's not something which is new. We've always seen service absorption ratio playing a vital role in the automotive business for a while now. So changing gears, any discussion in automotive business cannot be complete without a very important pillar, and that is our dealer network. So friends, it is my pleasure, honor, and pride that I would like to bring in a leading dealer principal of India, who has multiple dealerships of Kia, of Nissan, of Tata Motors. And I have seen, with my own eyes, the way he takes care of his people. And he is a nationalist, he's a patriot himself. And the kind of stuff that he does for his employees, I haven't seen many businesses do it. So getting Mr. Harsh Vashist in the conversation, as we call him, Harsh Bhai. So Harsh Bhai, we would like to hear from you how the journey was from April till this date. What are the challenges you faced, and how did you face them and overcome them with your innovation and wisdom?
First of all, good morning to all. It's very good, nice to see, very learned panelist. So it's a pleasure to have myself here. And I would like to congratulate Anuj also for your dedication. Every second Saturday of December, you do this activity. This is really commendable and really appreciable. Plus, you are the first one who started these webinar immediately post Janta curfew, which our PM imposed us. And I still remember, that webinar where we were discussing what are the immediate challenges which industry can foresee during this lockdown. So it's really great efforts by you. And regarding this pandemic challenges, I would like to acknowledge here that this pandemic really done wonders for myself, for our group, for our company, for our people. And we are because it's a big challenge for all of us. So how to come out of these tough times? So we have taken few measures. Our principal companies like Tata Motors, Kia Motors, they supported us well. And presently, I would like to again acknowledge that whatever business we have done last year, we have already done it this year. So next 3 months for us would be like bonus. Maybe we are slightly lagging whatever we decided for ourselves in year 2021, but definitely whatever, we have already crossed whatever we did last year. So why and how we are able to match those numbers. So really grateful to my family, uh, our staff, which is again my extended family, our customers, our OEs, and myself. The biggest challenge which I still remember in the month of March, which was a closing year time for any dealership. It was how to become mentally tough, how to come out of this lockdown one, and then there were speculations that lockdown two will be imposed, and after lockdown two it was like totally blind blank ki how many lockdowns, 3, 4, 5 will happen. So it was very, very, very tough time. So what I decided, like I have to make myself, my family, my extended family, which is my staff, and customers also, mentally very, very tough. And we decided to engage everybody on digital platforms. Like we engage them on different Zoom meetings. We talk to our managers and tell them to take care of their further down the line team, in not only in terms of their work, but for wellness of their family members and their finances. So that was very important, because that's the time when everybody still everybody made losses health wise, mentally, and their money. Everybody compromised, whether it is a washing guy or it is a DP. Everybody compromised on their cash reserve. They compromised on their cash reserve. So idea how to make them mentally tough. So we decided immediately, when lockdown was opened on 17th of May, we decided to give them a theme every month. Like first 2 months, I still remember I discussed with my in the BRM business review meeting with my all HODs, and then the in charge, even the shop floor in charge is a part of those meetings. So we tell them, I tell them clearly that, see, as a DP, I need your support. So the motto for those particular months like May and June was like, I need your support. As a DP, I need your support. You have to support me so that we together can overcome those challenges. And it was a fantastic support by every staff member, every extended family member, so that we were able to generate whatever we were doing before lockdown. We did those numbers. In fact, double number in Kia and almost 40-50% growth in Tata numbers, both in sales and service. So it was those monthly mottos which really excites them, which excites me also. I still remember, we all know Akshay Kumar, we all know Kesari movie. So where 21-6, they fought with huge enemies, like more than 10-20,000 enemies versus 21 Kesaris. So we again gave a motto in the month of July and August, like, I am Kesari. So that was the drive for those 2 months. I am Kesari. So everybody was giving extra and extra and extra. So we were able to do run 8 to 8 service hours for, especially for our customers, because customers were into panic. They don't want to come to dealerships. They don't want to stay for longer time to workshop. They want their car immediately. So what we have done is we discussed with our team the idea of doing service from 8 to 8 in 2 shifts. So just to build up confidence level of the customer that your car is safe. And then further the SOP, which were designed by almost all the car companies for sanitization, for masking, for car sanitization. And those were the fantastic supports, which is still everybody is following up. So the biggest challenge was how to make them mentally tough, how to make them physically tough, how to take care of their financial health. So we had not done any salary cuts, and still we are supporting them. There are the case studies, more than 70-80% staff are generating almost double incentives post lockdown. So that was really heads off to my team and support of my customers, my OEs, that we were able to generate more revenues, more for making us more financially viable. So it was really a very tough time post lockdown, and with the help of different levels, even the bankers, they supported us. We discussed internally, we discussed with the HODs. Now this is the time for taking the preventive actions, which was the need of the hour. Like, correct your financials. If we have cash reserves, so immediately we pay to our bankers. We have not opted any monetization, because it is further adding pressure to our overall system. So we decided to stretch ourselves and to cover up whatever expenses we have, or whatever liabilities we have. So we cleared all our liabilities. We are a debt-free company except for the inventory funding. We don't have any CC limit, any OD limits. So there's a time when one has to be mentally free. If you have reserves on other side, then please pay and clear your liabilities. That was a time when you need your mental peace, and you can think about your future, for your expansion plans. And now it's a time for our group that, for what we that's my perception, that next 2 quarters one has to think really big in terms of expansions, because Indian automotive market is really going to zoom after 2-3 quarters, and currently also it is doing wonders. And we all are blessed one way or the other that yes, our sector is almost back to normal as compared to many other sectors. So we all are blessed. So uh, just we have taken all these small things just to come out of it. And one thing also I would like to acknowledge, that this automotive business is like a sher ki sawari. So if you stop it, it will eat you. But if you run it, you will feel like a king, that you are riding a lion. So I'm happy, during this COVID time, that we got a chance that to correct ourselves, to think where we are heading, and we can now define our actions very well, because we know the worst. We know the worst, so we can always define our future very safely. And still, we all are in our group that we all believe in karmas. Whatever is our past deeds, they are coming in front of us in future, or maybe in present. So always do your work right in the present. You never know which COVID will come in future. So I'll end my discussion on this. Thank you so much.
So, Harsh Bhai, I would like to say that it seems that you are that dealer principal, that DP, which possibly the OEMs aspire for. So that knight in shining armor, that kind of DP you seem to be, by the kind of activities that you have done, during the lockdown, during the unlockdown, and thereafter. Ensuring that your company is debt free, ensuring that you are there for your teams, and now that your teams are earning double the incentive and you are having expansion plans, I think it's possibly the best example of how a dealership business can be and should be. So we have two options. A, we continue the discussion, and second is that we can take some questions. So friends, if you have any question, you see that chat box on your top right, just put your questions right there and we'll take it right in this conversation. Meanwhile, I would like to also invite again Murli sir. So Murli sir, the world is round, as Manish shared. He had joined as a GET, in your team, under your leadership, and now he is sharing the panel with you. How does it feel, first of all?
I feel so delighted for Manish. He's a person with potential. He has proven his potential, and it gives me immense satisfaction that this is the future of India. Nothing can be more proud, nothing can be more satisfying than to see youngsters like Manish stand up and say in an open forum that they are having about 95 million customers. And I hope, like Manish, a lot more Manishas come up and make India proud. These are the future of the country.
Absolutely. Right? Fantastic. That's well said. The golden words coming from the Guru. Punesh sir, you want to add something?
I have one other point in the whole discussion, which didn't come out very strongly, although it was touched upon a little bit.
Okay.
There are 2 points actually. First, you told us that 11:30 you want to close. It's 11:35. So I do not know how long the Zoom meeting will continue.
No, actually, we are just waiting for questions. If any questions come, we'll take,
The
take them
second
up right
point
away.
is more to the topic.
Yes,
The
sir.
topic is right across in this COVID period, the supply chain was not touched. And also the importance of startups. 160 startups have come of age. 160 startups have come of age in the auto space alone, including electric mobilities and technology, of which 34% are in the supply chain. Supply chain is now a science. It's no more warehouse mal Desia delivery. Supply chain is a science. And what is more significant, there are this 34% of the startups, they have attracted capital in Bangalore alone over $3.2 billion. The startups related to supply chain in and around Bangalore alone have attracted capital more than $3.2 billion. So this whole gamut of work from anywhere, customers wanting supplies quickly, is converting supply chain into a science, courtesy, something which no CEO could do even after GST, but courtesy a disease called COVID.
Right. So we have one question now. We have one question from Mr. Rao Pratap Singh ji. He's a veteran from the industry. He was there with Hyundai Motor India as well. So his question I put in the chat. He wants to ask that can we please clarify further on how SOPs will be audited, considering the physical movement is restricted? A great question.
You want me to answer that?
Sure, sure. We can all take turns and answer.
Oh, Punnaivanam, you want to answer that?
Yeah.
Sir, after you, sir. Murali sir, please begin. Then we can have Pune sir.
Okay, let us start. Okay, SOP doesn't mean a physical audit. SOP is an audit of the process. And in era of IT and cyber security, the important thing is how is the process functioning? And this is, I think, one of the other mental changes which needs to happen. A dissatisfied customer yesterday used to go and shout at a dealer point. A dissatisfied customer today splashes it in Facebook. And before we come out of the site, there'll be 100 messages in WhatsApp telling us how good or bad the program is. So the SOPs today is the process audit, and that can be done whether you're physically present or not present. And if your processes are not IT enabled or digitally savvy, it's high time you made it.
And can I add to that?
Yeah.
So, under the International Organization for Standardization, ISO, the Paris-based global standards company, there are 3 levels of audit. The first one is self-audit. So a dealer, you can audit yourself. You may have factory standards or a certain procedure. When the car comes in, the seat covers go in, the RO, etc., into the workshop, delivery. So, and then there are certain things in the workshop. You can read an SOP or the certain standards, or you know the procedure. You can have a service advisor review your workshop process. They may not know much, but they will learn a lot in the process. You can get a technician to review the service advisor process. You can get parts to review service and vice versa. So the standard for quality assurance is once per year, there should be a formal audit. We found 6 months to review yourself every 6 months. If you see some improvements, write that down in an improvement report so you can do it yourself. The other one, a factory manager can come in and review and give you his or her suggestions. And then the third level is for Lloyd's, Bureau Veritas, the certified quality agencies to come in. That's more of a manufacturing step, but you can self-audit.
Anuj, to add to Murali sir and also to Bob, so primarily during this COVID time, we have developed a model on virtual process audits. So that has really gained a very good attention and attractions among our clients, both in India and Middle East, because it helps in step-by-step process of emphasizing how a process SOP really matters a lot. Second thing, earlier, pre-COVID times, we used to do our workflows or our SOPs on a Excel or a PowerPoint or a Word document. Now, during this complete thing, we have just made something on a workflow management through a digital system. So every step of a SOP can be managed on a digital space, and it is easy access, because earlier if you want to see a SOP or a thing, you need to have a physical manual that you need to check. Today, with the digital space, we have developed SOPs on the workplace management tool, which everyone can access from everywhere. So because it's a mobile era, everything on a mobile you can access and keep learning. So SOPs as the new method is a virtual audit system, which really makes an impact.
That's fantastic, DJ. So a virtual SOP audit, and you can see the dashboard on your mobile phone. I think that's really fantastic. If you can really connect it with the real world at the ground level, and if it can actually have the genuine metrics, I think it's a killer application, DJ. So Pune sir, something on that?
Yeah. So one is to have the self-audit, as Rob said. Dealers generally have now built up their own processes also. Now for the OEM to have an audit externally, to have a digital audit or a physical audit. Earlier we used to travel for every, for Delhi, we used to have a norm that every month 4 visits, go to the dealership, look around and find out all the deviations in the SOPs. So now in the last 6-7 months, it was not required. It did not happen, but there was no fall in the quality performance. How did it happen? So we thought of, using our customer feedback as a very good audit point. He himself or she herself is an auditor, right? So he or she, when they visit the dealership, they give us feedback. So we revolved around a lot of digital feedback from the customers. We increase the volume of customer feedback without troubling them. After every experience or the interaction, we try to have as much as feedback and quickly connect with the dealer partners to correct in case there were some, our belief was physically nobody can go for audit. Digitally, you can rely on. We can ask a lot of digital inputs from the dealers that submit this data, this video for sanitization, masking, etc. You can ask for a lot of digital inputs or a virtual audit by a party. But what is best reliable thing is customers' feedback. We need to be connected with the customer digitally after every service, have their feedback, and all the lapses should be fixed. Let me tell you, once the lockdown was open, customer did not want to have the advisor for a road test. He says some noise is there, but the advisor cannot sit along with him. But okay, after the customer leaves, he has to confirm, was this noise the noise that customer heard? All that were there, but we kept on learning. Inspections were added. But end of the day, we need to invest in, I used to tell you last time, it is not standard operating procedure. It is never going to be standard. We say it is progressive operating standard. Today it is A, tomorrow it is A plus. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, it is A double plus. So we need to keep changing our SOPs, which as progressive operating procedures, POPs, then audit through our customers and keep evolving.
Beautiful, Pune sir. So you've actually turned SOP on its head. So now it's no more SOP, it's POS.
POPs.
POPs.
Progressive
have them popping out everywhere. Okay. So I think with that, it's a wrap on this discussion. So thank you so much, gentlemen, for taking your time. So now I would like to request Anita ma'am and Mohini to let us forward with the felicitations. Over to you, team.
Thank you, Anuj. One can only marvel at the degree of planning and forethought that went into adapting to this major change. And now, to felicitate our esteemed panelists, I would like to invite Mr. Priyesh Kumar, Head of Sales Operations Volkswagen, Mr. Mohit Ramani, CEO Exposim, and Mr. B. Madhusudan, Sales Director ITW. Please virtually present mementos to Mr. S. Muralidharan. Mr. S. Punnaivanam.
Thank you.
Mr. Manish Srivastava. So I would now like to present to Mr. Vashist.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, Mr. Dhananjayan. And Mr. Rob Boyle.
Thanks for the opportunity, everyone. Thank you, Anuj. I think this is a great thing you are doing here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rob.
And of course, Mr. Anuj Guglani.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Great.
Applause
Thanks,
to
Satyam.
all our esteemed speakers. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate your August presence, that too on a Saturday, on a weekend. And I am sure that all these pertinent and powerful thoughts that we have shared today, they shall go a long way, and the industry shall action them across the world. That's the beauty now. That's the beauty. Our ideas and thoughts shall be actioned all across the world, across 125 countries, as the entire world watches it today. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you once more, gentlemen.